Were all of the electors that said that they submitted a certificate of ascertainment for the Trump campaign just lying? And were they
Yes.
indicted for fun?
Yes, they were lying because every single state's certificate of ascertainment.
Oh, who sent that? Thank you for whoever sent that. Do better. What's up?
Hi, brother. How are you?
How are you? I'm well. How are you?
Oh, I've had better days, but that's okay. It's another day.
Hey, well, you're here, and it's always good to see you. So
It's good to see you too.
All right, so Ren,
Absolutely.
it's Reinald?
Ringyald.
Why are you voting for Kamala?
Because I think Donald Trump is an authoritarian threat to the country.
Okay, can you explain how he is?
I can. So there's a myriad of ways. The first of which I think is the worst, and which he was already let off from by the Supreme Court, but we have all of the documents backing it, is the Jeffrey Clark thing. I think that was insane. I can go into detail about that if you want me to. There was the plot to overturn the 2020 election. There was him floating the idea of terminating the Constitution.
Real quick. Just you brought up one topic that's obviously to us. We'd love to speak about J6. We have to say January 6th or J6.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm fucking up myself here, bud. But if we look back to 2016, I can recall a number of Democrats calling Donald Trump an illegitimate president and how the election was stolen. And then they also rioted the day of his inauguration across the country. And they were also burning shit in Washington, D.C. as well. So, and Donald Trump said to remain peaceful versus CNN and Maxine Waters telling them that there needs to be uprisings all over the country.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think anybody calling for violence is despicable. I agree that calling for violence, especially in regard to election integrity, is despicable, and any Democrat that did it should not be in positions of power. But I think that what Trump did.
Then why are you voting for Kamala then, Reinald?
Because I think what Trump did was very unique, and he had a hand in trying to overturn the 2020 election.
Posting on your social media to let rioters out of prison and jail. Posting on your social media.
We're almost to 10K. Let's get to 10K, guys. Come on.
I'm sorry.
Hold on, Reinald. Posting on your social media to have a bail fund for rioters isn't despicable. For them to
Donald Trump is campaigning on pardoning the J6 rioters.
Whoa, Reinald, don't pivot. What she's saying is that they posted bail money for these people, yet they want to condemn violence, but they're telling them, hey, we're going to bail you out. You should be able to do this again because you have a right to riot and burn people's businesses down.
That was a pivot. Her bringing that up was a pivot.
Kamala Harris.
Can I please make a point? Her bringing that up was a pivot. I'm not talking about the BLM riots.
That was during 2020, Reinald.
Well, you're saying that he incited violence, but Kamala Harris released violent people that were inciting violence.
I never said incite violence. I never said that.
Well, you said he tried to OT an election
through the electors and through putting pressure on the state legislatures, not through the riot.
Well, this is a sensitive topic just because of TikTok, but I mean, we can try to talk about it with.
Show me one certificate.
Specific words.
Yankee. Show me one certificate of ascertainment that was not done by the states, that was not signed by the governor, that did not have the state seal of that state. Show me one that was submitted to the registrar. Show me one.
The ones that Trump tried to submit?
Show me one from the registrar that was not submitted. Listen very carefully, Reinald. Listen very carefully, please. Show me one certificate of ascertainment that was submitted to the registrar that did not have the appropriate electors, that did not have a governor's signature, and that did not have a state seal. Show me.
All of the ones that Trump tried to submit did not have the approval of the governor.
From the registrar where those were submitted, Reinald.
What do you want me to show you? I can't turn my camera on. What do you want me to show you?
Well, pull it and send it to me from the registrar, and I'll put it on my screen.
Okay, I'm sorry. So the standard of evidence right now is that I need to pull the certificate of ascertainment from the registrar.
Right. That had alternative electors and that did not have a state governor and a state seal on it. Show me. Send it to me, and I'll put it up on the screen.
So just a quick question. Are all of the electors that were contacted by Donald Trump just lying about submitting their certificates?
Say that one more time.
Just indicted for fun?
Say that one more time. What did you say?
Were all of the electors that said that they submitted a certificate of ascertainment for the Trump campaign just lying? And were they indicted for fun?
Yes, they were lying because every single state's certificate
you
of
are
ascertainment. Which
this is
state do you want to
insane.
look at, Reinald? Well, I'll pull it up my goddamn self. Which state do you want to look at?
You realize that in the indictment.
Stop pivoting, Reinald. Stop
I'm not
pivoting.
pivoting. I'm not pivoting.
Stop
I'll explain. I'll
pivoting.
explain
Which
it right now.
state?
It's very simple. It's very simple. It's very simple.
Which state, Reinald?
Kenneth Chesborough pled guilty to the Georgia indictment, right?
State, Reinald. I'm not letting you pivot off
Chesborough
of it.
pled guilty to the Georgia
Reinald, what
indictment,
state?
right? Did he not plead guilty?
Reinald, what state?
Does that indictment not detail Chesborough hand delivering
what
false
state?
certificate?
Oh my gosh.
You realize that if they're fraudulent certificates of ascertainment, why would they even be in the registrar?
What?
You're asking me for
state,
you're asking me for something that doesn't exist.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. So
because why would a fraudulent certificate of ascertainment be in the registrar?
Is hyperbole, right?
Why
all of this is just imaginary whatever that never actually happened.
I answered your
little
question.
blue anons are psychotic.
Listen, a very simple question. Why would a fraudulent certificate of ascertainment be in the registrar?
Thank you so much for the swan.
Do you even know
the process?
Do you even know the process of what happens on January or J6?
I know that Eastman said that what they were proposing was unconstitutional.
I don't care what Eastman said. Do you know the process?
I know you don't, because you're trying to rail me down.
I'm trying to inform you of what actually occurred versus what conspiracy you're pushing.
Did Chesborough, did he or did he not plead guilty to the Georgia indictment that leads this out? That lays all of this out.
Okay, then let's pull up the Georgia Certificate of Ascertainment. How about that, Reinald? Let's see if his name was on the official Certificate of Ascertainment. That'll give you a lot of clarity,
right? It's a fraudulent certificate. Why would it be in the registrar?
Keep tapping that screen, guys. Keep tapping that screen.
So it's not the certificate that Mike Pence had. It's not the certificate that came to the House floor. It's not the certificate that was either accepted or approved on the House floor by the House of Representatives, right?
Yes.
Am I right?
Exactly. You are right.
Oh, but you're so also, it was never there.
But you realize that you're asserting a conspiracy. You're asserting a conspiracy that all of these electors just lied to make Trump look bad?
I'm pulling it up for you, Reinald, because you can't.
Did all of the electors that were not supposed to be there enter the state capitol to make Trump look bad?
I'm gonna hear about that later. Thank you guys for the gifts. Thank you guys for the gifts.
There's a reason why she's not answering this question is because you're asserting that all of the electors are just trying to make the president of their party look bad.
She's trying to provide evidence for you here. She's trying to bring up your claims.
She's trying to provide something that's completely unrelated. There's no reason that a fraudulent certificate of ascertainment would be filed in with the official documents.
Up through the registrar, the certificate of ascertainment.
Why would a fraudulent certificate of ascertainment be added to the registrar? Why would a fraudulent one be added?
Okay, let's just take a little looky here, Reinald. Okay, let's take a little looky. This is the Georgia
have no idea what you're talking about.
Certificate of ascertainment. What was the name you said?
You actually have no idea what you're talking about.
Just tell her what the name is.
This is from the archives.
Chesborough pled guilty to the RICO case, not being one of the electors.
Oh, so now we're pivoting again. Okay, because you don't want to talk about this.
That's not a pivot. You just didn't understand what the fuck I was saying.
Because this is what was submitted.
You have no idea what you're talking about.
To be debated on the House floor or accepted on the House floor. Looky, it has every single one, Reinald.
Isn't it weird that Chesborough pled guilty to a RICO case about it then? Isn't that strange that he just plead guilty for fun too?
I'm saying this was a certificate of ascertainment.
You're bullshitting. You are purposefully sidestepping what I'm saying.
I'm not sidestepping anything.
Okay, and this should be a very simple question. This should be a very simple question. Why would they submit a fraudulent certificate of ascertainment to the registrar?
Where did they submit it?
They tried to hand deliver them to Mike Pence. They tried to hand deliver them to Mike Pence.
You can't hand deliver it to Mike Pence, you dummy.
That's why they were fraudulent.
That's why they were fraudulent. The archives from Georgia.
You realize that a fraudulent certificate of ascertainment wouldn't be filed officially, right?
Keep tapping that screen, guys. Keep tapping that screen.
It has the state seal and it has the governor's signature. It also
because that
has
is the official certificate of ascertainment. You're so smart.
It already has for each party.
Yes, keep pointing out parts of the certificate of ascertainment that Trump didn't have.
Thank you for the hand.
That's really interesting.
Look.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting because this is what was submitted, and whatever BS you're talking about was never submitted to Mike Pence, was never submitted to the registrar.
So this should be a really simple question. Did Kenneth Chesebro plead guilty to the indictment for fun? Did he just think that guilty plea would be a lot of fun?
Probably when you have the Department of Justice after you, pleading out is probably the best option for you, to be fair.
Even though the charges are made up?
It doesn't really matter because this is what was
made up the charges?
on that day, and this is what was discussed on the House floor, and this is the only thing on record. So I don't know what you're talking about, because if Mike Pence, listen to me,
that a fraudulent certificate of
if Mike Pence had
filed.
anything that was alternative that was submitted to him, he would have to submit it to the registrar, okay? For record keeping, you dummy.
No, that's why they're fraudulent.
This is the only thing from Georgia that was actually submitted and that was actually discussed on the House floor.
That's why they're fraudulent. You're showing me an official certificate of ascertainment to say that fraudulent ones can't exist.
It's the only certificate of ascertainment that was in the registrar.
They tried that they have. You realize that we have scans of the fraudulent ones, right? We literally have scans of the fraudulent certificates of ascertainment.
From the registrar?
Just because they weren't. No, not from the registrar, because you wouldn't file it.
So if I send an email to you and I say it's official government document and I send it to you, you're going to believe that?
You're right. The ones that Trump filed weren't official government documents. That's why they're fraudulent.
Okay, you're not answering my question. If I type up an email right now saying it's official government document, are you going to believe that it's official government document?
You laid out exactly the problem. That was hilarious.
Thank you, Queen Bee. Thank you for the finger heart.
That was hilarious. The problem is that they didn't get officially filed because they're fraudulent.
This BS,
can you
quote unquote,
define
scheme when that's not what happened that day, Reinhold?
Can you define fraudulent for me?
That's not what happened that day.
Can you define fraudulent for me?
Reinhold,
can you
please,
define fraudulent for me?
Reinhold,
can you define fraudulent for me?
Reinhold, just one time.
All right, let Do Better go, and then Reinhold, then you can respond to her after she goes.
Just show me one certificate that was on the House floor that day that was presented by Mike Pence, because if he supposedly had them, he would have presented them, right? Show me one state that had one certificate of ascertainment that was on the House floor on J6 that was discussed that was fraudulent.
Okay. Can I have a second to respond without being cut off? I just need that ensured to me. Okay. So they were fraudulent. That's why Mike Pence didn't present them, but they still tried to get them hand-delivered to Mike Pence.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. They were never given to Mike Pence. Mike Pence never had them in his possession. Mike Pence would have had to again submit them for record keeping, Reinhold. And you know damn well that Mike Pence would have done that because he is definitely a rule follower. You know that, Reinhold. You know that better than all of us.
You're right that they weren't delivered to Mike Pence. You're right.
If this is true, if this is true, what you're saying, they would have been in the archives, like I've told you.
No.
But
because
they're
they were
not, so it never happened.
So did Eastman just write that memo for fun?
Hey, I hate to cut this short, but we got to get off this topic before I get this live taken down, because we really can't talk about that topic too much.
Okay, I'd rather not talk about conspiracies anyway, so we can talk about real life.
Well, let's just change topics before this live gets taken down, because we're talking about this.
Okay, sure. But I will say that the conspiracy that you're asserting is that, like, Eastman made it up, and all the people that pled guilty to the indictments made it up, and all of the electors made it up, and all, like, you're asserting a conspiracy that would be impossible.
No, what
to
I'm
happen.
asserting is on.
It's a conspiracy
hold
that
on.
Is
this is what I. No,
all
you're
of these
not
people are
going to
just
put words
lying
in my
for
mouth,
fun about Donald
Reinhold.
Trump.
Okay, this is what I'm
vice
asserting.
president. You're insane.
Okay, cool.
She's actually insane. There's no reason that you would file a fraudulent document because it's fraudulent. No shit. They didn't go through the official processes of filing these fraudulent documents because they were fraudulent, but they tried to convince the vice president to choose them anyway. I don't know why, if this whole thing was made up, I don't know why Chesebro would plead guilty. I don't know why Ellis would plead guilty. I don't know why Mike Pence wouldn't deny that it happened. I don't know why Donald Trump wouldn't deny that it happened. I don't know why Eastman wouldn't deny that it happened. I don't know why he wrote the Eastman memo. I don't know why all the electors lied about it happening. Like, the conspiracy that she's asserting is, like, impossible. Like, you can't, that doesn't happen.